Did you get to know Marilyn Monroe when she came to New York to study at the Actors Studio while you were doing Bus Stop just before Hollywood made the move?
Yes, I did. She was charming. She came to the studio and was trying very hard to learn the method and be a serious actress. And we all loved her. She was so full of fun and liked everybody and loved being a person instead of just a piece of meat, which I'm afraid she was in Hollywood up to that time. In the middle of the run of Bus Stop, I got a call from my agent, and I went to read for William Wyler, the Hollywood director who was doing the movie Friendly Persuasion by Jessamine West, which was about the Quakers, set back in time a bit. And that was, I was inspired because by then I was 28 years old, and this part was a 16-year-old again. And Wyler and I just charmed each other out of our chairs. And finally he slipped in a zinger. He said, "How old are you, Phyllis?" And I looked at him and I said, "Why, Mr. Wyler, I'm as old as the part." And he just thought that was delicious, and he didn't ask any further. And when I made the movie, one day the makeup man leaned over and said something about my age. And we were alone in there. I said, "How old do you think I am?" I had just turned 29 making that movie. He leaned over and whispered in my ear, "You'll never see 29 again." And I said, "Oh, don't tell anybody." He said, "Never." So Wyler had no idea that his 16-year-old character was 29 years old. It was a really wonderful man. He truly befriended people. He didn't have any class system of who's who was a big star. He and I used to sit together a lot, waiting for sets to be lit and, you know, time to shoot. And he would tell me, he loved nature. He would tell me about the hunting he'd done, and he was a devastating charmer in a quiet way. You just couldn't help but love him. This is a photo of the front porch set on Friendly Persuasion, where Peter Mark Richmond, who plays my boyfriend and later my fiancé, and Anthony Perkins, who plays my brother. I knew Peter Mark Richmond, who played my lover, or boyfriend, in the movie before the movie, because he was married to my dear friend from Summer Stock, Helen Richmond. And so when I was talking with Wyler, and he said, "You know the actor Peter Mark Richmond?" I said, "Yes." He said, "He's going to read for it at 1 o'clock. I said, "Oh, I'll wait for him. He's a friend of mine." So it just worked. Peter Mark, I think, always had a special fondness because I waited for him, and we both got it. And he loved that movie, too.
In 1957, she did a play with Carl Malden called The Egghead. And that was interesting because of what was going on in Washington with the witch hunt.
McCarthy.
Senator McCarthy trying to find some people in the theater and the movie business who were communists. And this play was primarily, it was written by Molly Kazan, the wife of Elia Kazan.
Yes.
And it was to try and counter and show how bad this witch hunt is in any democracy, that they shouldn't have that.
Yeah.
Okay, the next play that Osanna did on Broadway was a delightful comedy called The Remarkable Mr. Pennypacker. I got to see that play and went backstage afterwards with my then wife to congratulate her on the play and her performance, in which she co-starred with Burgess Meredith. That play was very popular and ran for about a year there on Broadway. After that, she did some other plays, one called A Distant Bell in Broadway, another one called The Flowering Cherry on Broadway. We're up to about 1959 by this time. After Osanna did the movie The Young Doctors, she and her husband, Jimmy McGee, a New York playwright, moved to Los Angeles, and she's lived here ever since. And out here she did a series of many television shows, some of which were extremely popular, like the Gunsmoke series about the sheriff, and the Twilight Zone series, which she did one or two films on that, some of which are out there available on videotape. She did two of the Perry Mason series, the FBI series, the Fugitive series. She was on a show called Bonanza, which was a popular TV show. She was in several of those. And that took her up into the early 1970s, which was about the time that she retired from acting, because she was busy teaching English and drama at the high school here in Los Angeles.
In 1959, my first husband and I heard about a new movement coming from Britain, and there was to be a speech at the French Institute in New York about it, called Subud, and so we went. And I didn't realize then what I do now, and looking back, something in my husband was very desperate at that time, because he was a very talented playwright. Things had almost happened. A production was off Broadway and didn't go further. Tennessee Williams took him over to Europe to help him write a scene in his plays. I mean, he was known, and he had a reputation, and he was talented. And everything happened for me. Everything I tried for, and nothing happened for him. And so by the time we went to the French Institute, and he heard about this wonderful new spiritual movement where you're put in touch with the power of God and can be guided by that power, he asked in his heart, within himself, for a sign, if that was for him, to join. And he had 3 electric shocks in his heart. And he took that as a sign. And when he was talking to Mr. Bennett, the Englishman who gave the speech and had been the leader of a Subaru group in England, Mr. Bennett said, "Well, you have been inadvertently opened. We must open you right away to this contact." Because ordinarily people who've been in it for a while stand around and receive the contact, and then the new person who wants to enter can receive it too. So they did. And he was a spiritual man.